Oh, hi, by the way. I'm trying to prop this thing up so that it doesn't. Hope you well, hope you well, hope you well. Hope you're swell, hope you're swell, hope you're swell. Hope you're waving, hope you're gravy. Bro, I have this bottle of sanitizer. I've had it since. When does it expire? There's no way. So June is the 6th month. July is the 7th month. August, the 8th month. There's no way. It says it expires today. I don't think you can see that, but it says it expires today. 31st. That's the 3, right? 3/1/08/23. Why do they have a time on here? Why do they? It says 18 past 3 a.m. Why would they write that? Surely they don't mean it expires at 3 a.m. 18 minutes past 3 a.m. There's no way they mean that. They have a time here. Oh, you can't see. This is poor light. Poor camera, I mean. They just have a time next to the expiry date. I don't know what that's supposed to mean. But today is the 31st of August. Yes. Yes. 31/08/23. "18 minutes past 3. Which means technically it's done. Because right now, what time is it now? It's 12 minutes past 9. There's no way that time they put the exact time is going to expire. There's no way. I've had this for like, I don't know how long. I actually stole it from, I didn't steal it. I took it from one of my buddies. We were having like this film shoot, and I guess it was stealing technically. It wasn't stealing. I just took it and forgot to give it back. And I've had it since. Was it 2021 or 2022? I think it was 2022, beginning of last year. So I don't know how long he's had it. He's probably had it since 2020. COVID times. I make music, guys. I don't know how that was a long tangent. I make music. I'm doing a song a day challenge with a goal to drop a song a day until the end of the year. 7 songs every Friday. Every Friday, 7 songs. There's no way that they put the time when it's. Anyway. Link in the description if you want to hear my music. 7 songs every Friday, 7 songs, man. It's just the right thing to check it out and see what's happening in that regard. this is another hand sanitizer. My niece gave this to me last year in August, September. So it's been a year since she gifted this to me. She gifted me sanitizer. This is probably expired too. This is from the plane too. It's like Emirates sanitizer says. So I even know. Does it have an expiry date on it? No. Anyway, I've been thinking about. I want to show you something. There's this lady. Her name is Magat Wade. Oh God, I have to log in. Damn it. What's my password? Ugh. Now I have to get I've got 2-step authentication on my Instagram, so now I have to wait for this SMS to pop up and hopefully it doesn't stop my recording. Wait, what's the code? 903592. Technology is amazing, man. I can film and get codes and log into Instagram on my laptop, and I'm doing so many things at once. Phenomenal. I'm talking to people from different parts of the world. Very impressive stuff. Her name is Magat Wade, and she's this, I guess she's like an entrepreneur. I first saw her on the Jordan Peterson podcast, and she was talking about Africa and how she has all these plans, how the current political and economic models do not work in Africa, right? And that we need to start employing free market principles that allow us as people to start businesses without the government constantly inserting themselves in our affairs and taking tax and all these tariffs and yada yada yada, right? Imposing their will on the people. And it's very simple. It's a very simple strategy, but I think it can work. And we've seen Rwanda go from one of the most impoverished nations to one of the wealthiest nations in Africa in the space of a few years. If you haven't heard of the Rwandan genocide, you should look that up. This country has been through horrors, and they've somehow managed to turn things around in an unbelievably short amount of time. And the catalyst for that was good economic policies. We've seen that with China as well. Just a few decades ago, like the 80s, just before the 80s, China was extremely poor. People don't realize how poor it was. Most people in China are still poor, but that's more of a that's the fault of the government, honestly. But the nation of China has become extremely wealthy, unbelievably wealthy. It's one of the leading economic powers right now. And it's involved in so many different industries because even though they're a communist country, which is, yeah, they understood that they cannot survive with those economic policies. So while socially and politically they're communist, they've adopted a lot of economic, capitalist economic principles. For example, they removed a lot of the tariffs for coastal trade, I guess. Like so boats coming in, bringing in goods, they don't charge them exorbitant fees anymore, because that was deterring foreign traders to import and export goods and stuff like that. And even on businesses within the country, they've become more lax with regards to the amount of tax they charge. And yeah, they just become more business friendly essentially. And what that did for the country, these various principles they've employed over time, in the space of a few decades, they became one of the most impoverished nations in the world to one of the biggest economic powers. And Singapore is probably the best example of this, because even Singapore is the best example, because they're not communist and they're doing extremely well, extremely well. One of the best standards for education in the world, one of the safest places to live. They kill the criminals, by the way. They have the death penalty there. They're willing to go all the way. So if you're a terrorist, if you're a drug trafficker, you're probably going to die if you go to Singapore. They don't play. And people there aren't squeamish. Even the citizens are in support of it, which, listen, it's working. They have one of the lowest crime rates in the world. What's Singapore crime rate? Just give me a percentage, damn it. Okay, so 2021, it says crime rates per 100,000 population. So 2021 was 847. So I'm assuming what that means is that for every 100,000 people, maybe 847 committed a crime. So that's, oh my God, that's extremely low. Let's see, what percentage is that? That's like 0.001%. Less than that, really. I'm just rounding off to 1,000. It's 847. So 1,000 of 100,000 is 0.001%. Am I lying? What is that? Times it by the maths is strange right now. Calculator. Is it opening? Oh, there it is. 100,000 so 0.01%. It's 0.01%, not 0.001%. So get a percentage because they're giving me these weird numbers that are hard to conceptualize. They say it's the safest country in the world. And it says, they have high surveillance, so CCTV cameras everywhere. And the law enforcement, they don't play. They don't play. And look, you do have to have surveillance, like, to deter criminals. Obviously, it's a fine line between Orwellian dystopian society and, like, safe society. It's a fine line, but the citizens are happy, which is what is important. There are a lot of people that migrate to Singapore and are living good lives. So it's like, if there's a lot of cameras in public, it's not that they're putting them in your home. I would say that's a good thing. Anyway, I say all that to say, Magat Wade, she's proposed this idea that Africa can follow in the footsteps of a lot of these countries. Because Singapore was broke. It was broke. It was bad. It was very bad. Third world country, as I like to say, right? And they turned things around in a few years and became one of the safest countries in the world, one of the wealthiest, one of the best, one of the leaders in education. It's just a beautiful place, but they have one of the best airports in the world. Like, they turn things around, man. Singapore is one of the places to be in the world right now. A lot of people migrate there. And she's proposing that Africa can see the same sort of prosperity, because we saw Rwanda turn things around. So Africa's doing okay, but the corruption is getting a bit out of hand. So if we don't get it under control, we might see things fall apart. But I have faith that we'll get things under control. And she's proposed this idea of a startup city, and I want to go over it with you. By the way, I got this sandwich I'm looking forward to eating. This lighting is so terrible. Basically, let me read what it says. Salami, Gruyere cheese, sweet baby greens with a touch of caramelized onion in a rind spitz roll. Now, they didn't add any sort of moisture sauce, like maybe put some mayonnaise or something. So, I mean, you lose points for that, but I'm still looking forward to it. So I'll eat it after I'm done here. Anyway. So Magat Wade, this entrepreneur lady, she has proposed this idea of a startup city. Let me read what she said on her Instagram. There's this post that I want to read. Within a matter of decades, you're going to want to plant your money in a booming new metropolis in Africa. A startup city gives us the opportunity to start fresh. We can create a legal system that's more friendly to entrepreneurs and that allows them to thrive. We can give entrepreneurs the opportunity to create and innovate, provide a best-in-class business environment that will attract global investment and create economic prosperity for African families. Ready or not, the city and the bright future it brings is on its way. It will revolutionize the way business is done in Africa, and it will inspire countless African cities to follow in its footsteps. Within a few decades, it will transform the entire continent. With your support, we can seize this future sooner than you may think. Follow our exciting journey as we bring the city to life and take part in the community of people who believe in a prosperous future for Africa. And I believe her. She was very convincing. Again, I saw on the Jordan Peterson podcast, and she was like detailing her plan and why certain economic models don't work and why others do work and all these different things. Like socialism, communism, all of that stuff is terrible. It's You don't understand how much it hinders growth, and it hasn't worked for Africa. Like, we've been employing these principles for decades, and all they've done is make us poorer and poorer and poorer. And people blame colonization, they blame this, they blame. No, it's bad economic principles that keep us poor. Why should the government have that much say over what business you do, who you do business with, where you go to school, yada yada yada? It's like it's none of their business. So we need to give government less power. We need to stop to pay less tax, be more business friendly for entrepreneurs and yada yada. Like there's so many things we can do that can attract investors as well to the continent and to these various countries, and then people will migrate and will attract more tourists, and the economy will be bossing. But we can't. Hold on. So yeah, we need to get it together, man. So she says, phase 1. We obtain permission from the government for a zone with its own law and governance so that we can install best-of-class commercial law, a streamlined regulatory system, and best-in-the-world e-government. No one wants to live in an industrial park, no matter how nice the offices are. That's why, oh my God. That's why during this phase, we're focused on creating the foundations that will offer residents and their families prosperous, fulfilling, well-rounded lives. An energy supply distribution center, water distribution center, co-working spaces, schools, retail spaces, state-of-the-art residences, green spaces, medical centers, and parking. So she's talking about creating an environment that accommodates well-rounded living. So it's not just a business center, it's not just a place where you can do business, but it's like a great place to live, and do business and send your kids to school and yada yada yada. I say yada yada yada. I need to stop. I don't like that. We've designated land for an industrial zone that contains. We've designated land for an industrial zone that contains a business center and production facilities for the textile and durable goods industries. We've also allocated spaces to an agricultural experience, outlet mall, and showroom center. Public pavilions will be framed by lush fields, and residents will be able to visit the farmers market, restaurants, and sports center, all in a single stretch. So look, she's laying out a vision here, which is important. You do need to have a vision. And I've seen with it, it's actually crazy. People don't understand how fast these things can actually be built, especially in this modern era. In the space of a few years, I've literally seen this trend of these apartment complexes being built. And I live in one of them, and it's like these weren't around just, oh my God. These weren't popular just a few years ago, but they all started getting built all over the place, and they're still being built. And they're nice, they're picturesque. They have wellness centers. You can go and exercise. Some of them have theaters, and some of them have restaurants, and it's really impressive what they're building here. And so when she's detailing these things, right, for me, it's not like a pipe dream. It's not something that's far-fetched. I've literally seen it happen here in South Africa. So I think what she's talking about is possible. It's doable. And guys, people don't understand how quickly these things can actually be built. It's insane how quickly these things can be built. So when she says in a few years, it's true. Like in a few years, you can start to see a lot of these things materialize. And thank God for technology. And I talked yesterday about James Tour, this nanoscientist. And he was positing this idea of, through nanoscience, it might be possible in the future to because you have to think of everything in terms of information. Our DNA is literally just coded information that instructs the rest of our physical being and our the characteristics we're going to have. Everything is information. Cells are coded with information. So you're saying like it's very possible to compress that information into little seeds that you can plant, and then you can grow entire structures out of it. And that might be possible through nanotechnology. So a building, for example, you can compress the information, that information into like a single little seed, I guess. I don't know what you'd call it. And you plant it in the ground and you can sprout a building. You can do like that for chairs. You can do that for any sort of structure, really, because it's all information. Everything is information. So it's like when we talk about startup cities, in the future, it might not be that far away. It might be far away. I don't know. We might see entire cities being built in the space of like a year or two, if even that, because that's how rapidly technology is advancing, and we don't know just how quickly a lot of this, because technology advances exponentially. It's not like a constant rate. It's like, okay, this took 10 years, then it took 2, then it took 2 months. Like, that's how quickly technology progresses. So the future's looking bright, man. Everything will be designed with beauty, practicality, and livability in mind. Think spacious, inviting, light, and airy. By 2040, more than 100,000 people will call the city their home, and by the time they move in, we're determined for them to have everything they need to thrive. Hello, next slide. Phase 2. Once the core facilities have been established and our early adopters have moved in, we'll shift our focus to expanding the range of available industries and amenities. This is when our already booming city will become a world-class economy. Once this phase is complete, our startup city will not only be able to compete with the most desirable, high-tech, and luxurious financial centers across the globe, it will leapfrog some of them. Again, Singapore did this. They went from one of the poorest nations in the world to one of the wealthiest nations in the world in a matter of years. It didn't take a lifetime. It took years. There are people who have experienced extreme poverty and are experiencing extreme wealth in Singapore, like one generation, dude. It's unbelievable what's possible. It's so encouraging. We'll expand our central business center, which comes complete with a financial district, corporate buildings, high-end residences, and amenities, and an innovation hub. How much time do I have left on this thing? Our health district, which contains conference facilities and a world-class medical area, will be joined by an arts and culture district brimming with cinemas, theaters, a concert hall, a fashion district, and an art district. A new university campus will perch at the edge of the city, and students and faculty will have plenty to do in the bustling new market district, which will be teeming with retail and nightlife. The city is on a waterfront, so we'll have a resort area for tourists and local weekenders, a beachfront zone with high-end residences and hospitality facilities, and a marina designed for efficient trade. There will be startups on every corner, and the whole place will buzz with energy. So that's that. And I think it's very possible. I think her idea just needs investors. I've seen it happen here in South Africa. And, the beauty about this is it encourages entrepreneurship. Small businesses can thrive in an environment like this. Because she's talking about nightlife and entertainment and art centers and like artists can move here in pursuit of a career. You can have venues opening up for people to perform music, places for people to go for nightlife and so on and so forth. Like, business is at the heart of it all, guys. We need to encourage entrepreneurship and stop demonizing people who want to be wealthy. Oh my God. People don't understand how problematic it is, and it's so frustrating here in Africa because people are dying and starving and poor. The answer is not socialism, equity, and no. Allow people to pursue entrepreneurship and stop taxing the shit out of them when they achieve success. It disincentivizes it. Like it's like if I'm gonna become wealthy and the government is just gonna take all my money anyway, what's the point? Yet you discourage people. Let people be wealthy. Stop criminalizing wealth. It's insane. If someone starts a business and does extremely well, hold on because I need to make space so I can continue ranting. As I was saying, if someone starts a business and is doing extremely well, do you understand how that benefits everyone else? YouTube is a perfect example, dude. The people that started YouTube, billionaires probably. I'm not complaining. You know why? I'm making money off this damn product. I wouldn't want them to be taxed heavily and all this tax the rich, all this nonsense, because I'm eating off of this. I'm making money. Because entrepreneurship creates employment, guys. It creates wealth. You can't be that successful and not impact your environment in a positive way. It's impossible. A lot of people are going to eat off of what you're doing. So while we should definitely encourage ethical business practices and fair wages and so on and so forth, it's like we can't keep demonizing these people. That we should encourage people to be billionaires and trillionaires and all this stuff, like through ethical means, of course. Don't game the system. I know that no system is perfect. No economic system is perfect. But we should encourage wealth. Whatever is doable, whatever exists within the realm of possibility, pursue that. You shouldn't tell people you're not allowed to be this rich and like let people pursue wealth, and then what that does is the wealth spreads because you create employment, and then those people can then pursue their own businesses. It's beautiful. And I think the African continent needs that right now. We need less government and more business, more trade, people coming up with ideas. Do you know how many people in this continent have university degrees and are like working menial jobs? It's insane the amount of people that are extremely educated, but that does not, that those certificates mean nothing here because it's hard to find employment. It's hard to start a business because of government over-regulating everything. They feel the need to have a say in everything. So it stifles growth, it stifles creativity, and it kills people. And when people try to revolt, what do? You end up with things like the Rwandan genocide. Rwandan genocide. How many people got killed? The Rwandan genocide wasn't like, it was very complicated in the various factors. But so I'm hesitant to attribute it to purely economic reasons. But they're saying 500 to 662,000 people died. What caused? So it's saying like ethnic divisions, but essentially you had one group controlling the governments and everyone else being like, we don't like this. And then there was civil war, and then it led to the genocide. But it's still government, right? It's the issue of government imposing its will on people and people not being happy about that. which is essentially what I'm talking about, which is like, we need less of that. Like, keep your nose for damn business. Let us conduct trade as we see fit. And I think the people will benefit largely from that. So Magatwa Day, I think she's onto something serious. And I'd love, like, as I accrue wealth, to invest in this, invest in her vision, and see her actualize a lot of this stuff. And she, as she was saying, like, as it just takes one of these cities to be successful. This experiment just needs to succeed, and then other people will follow suit. Other places in the continent will be like, yeah, we should probably start doing that as well. They just need a good example, and then people will change their minds and just abandon these foolish socialist policies and communists. Yeah, socialism, communism, what's the difference? It's like, bro, yeah, we need change, man. We've tried socialism for decades. It has not worked at all. It's just made everything worse. Everything's just gotten worse. And people have died as a result. That's why we don't play with it here. When people talk about socialism, it's like, stop it. People have died, man. It's not a game. It's not... This continent is poor. It's not a joke. South Africa is fine. Rwanda is fine. You have a few examples of countries in the continent that are fine, but the continent as a whole is suffering. So, you know, I'm looking forward to seeing what this lady does, and I believe that she can turn things around for us. It's Magatwa Day, MagatteWade. If you want to look her up. Anyway, let me pray and get out of here and eat this sandwich. You know, I like to pray at the end of all my videos just to impart blessing and peace and all that good stuff. So, dear Father God, thank you for this individual launching this. Thank you for making them whole and unique. Thank you that you're guiding them on a good path towards prosperity and peace, fulfillment. Thank you that they have good people in their life who take care of them and love them and push them to be better, encourage them to be better. Thank you that this individual has so much to look forward to every day. They wake up excited with things to do, people to see. Thank you that they're on a good path, that they feel is good for them, and you're showing them good things as well. And you're surprising them. Let there be many surprises in their life, good surprises, Lord. And you just empower them, encourage them, give them peace in all that they do, no matter what circumstance they find themselves in. A peace that surpasses human understanding. And good health, long life over this person, over their friends, over their family. In my name I pray. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Okay, sandwich time.